Within our most holy faith, many men and women laid down their lives for the sake of the gospel. Not only through martyrdom, but also through austere disciplines and practices, have many found the grace of God working through their lives as they worked out their salvation through fear and trembling. The following are the sayings of these early church saints and the scriptures they followed to overcome lust and gain self-control. Let us begin in the words of the Apostle Paul, who said, "But I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified." 1 Corinthians 9:27. We can read an example of bringing our body into subjection through the following Desert Father. For they said of Macarius that if he was asked to eat among the brothers, he made a rule for himself that if wine was offered, he would drink it for the brothers' sake. And then, for 1 cup of wine, he would go without water for a whole day. Some brothers wanted to refresh him and gave him some wine. He took it with joy, so as later to punish himself. But his disciple, knowing the reason, said to the brothers, "For God's sake, I beg you, do not give him any wine." In the cell afterwards he pays for it with torment. When the brothers heard this, they gave him no more wine. But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Then, when desire has conceived it, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, brings forth death. James 1:14-15. They said of Peter, named Pionius, who was in Sellia, that he did not drink wine. When he grew old, they asked him to take a little wine. When he refused, they warmed some water and offered it to him. He said, "My sons, I drink it as though it was spiced wine." He was content with warm water. I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Galatians 5:16. These words were further contemplated on by Gaius Marius Victorinus, the Christian convert from paganism in the 4th century, for he said, "The whole essence of the gospel is to think according to the Spirit, to live according to the Spirit, to believe according to the Spirit, to have nothing of the flesh in one's mind and acts and life. That means also having no hope in the flesh. Walk then," he says, "in the Spirit, that is, be alive. If you do so, you will not consummate the desire of the flesh. You will admit into consciences no sin, which is born of the flesh." One hermit visited another hermit and said during their conversation, "I'm dead to the world." The other said, "Don't be so confident until you have actually died. You may say about yourself that you are dead, but Satan is not dead. For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you should abstain from sexual immorality, that each of you should know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor, not in passion of lust, like the Gentiles who do not know God. 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5. It happened that Moses, who lived in Petra, was struggling with the temptation to fornication. Unable to stay any longer in the cell, he went and told Isidore about it. He advised him to return to his cell, but he refused, saying, "Abba, I cannot." Then Isidore took Moses out onto the terrace and said to him, "Look towards the west." He looked and saw hordes of demons standing about and making a noise before him, launching an attack. Then Isidore said to him, "Look towards the east." He turned and saw an innumerable multitude of holy angels shining with glory. Isidore said, "See, these are sent by the Lord to the saints to bring them help, while those in the west fight against them. Those who are with us are more in number than they are against us." 2 Kings 6:16. So Moses gave thanks to God, plucked up courage, and returned to his cell. Likewise, if any are tempted by hordes of demons, we should not be discouraged, but return to our spiritual cell and turn our attention back on God. For no temptation has overtaken you, except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. 1 Corinthians 10:13. For this can be clearly shown in the example of Saint Ephrem. Ephrem was passing by when a harlot, she was the devil's agent, began to make every effort to attract him to sinful intercourse, or, if she failed in this, at least to stir him to anger, for no one had ever seen him angry or brawling. He said to her, "Come with me." When they came to a crowded place, he said to her, "Come on, I will lie with you here as you want it." She looked around at the crowd and said, "How can we do it here, with all these people standing around? We should be ashamed." He said, "If you blush before men, should you not blush the more before God, who discloses the hidden things of darkness?" So she went away, confused and taken aback, without gaining anything. Therefore, my son, keep your father's command, and do not forsake the law of your mother. Bind them continually upon your heart, tie them around your neck. When you roam, they will lead you. When you sleep, they will keep you. And when you awake, they will speak with you. For the commandment is a lamp and the law a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep you from the evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a seductress. Do not lust after her beauty in your heart, nor let her allure you with her eyelids. For by means of a harlot a man is reduced to a crust of bread, and an adulteress will prey upon his precious life. Can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burnt? Can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? So is he who goes into his neighbor's wife. Whoever touches her shall not be innocent. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is starving. Yet when he is found, he must restore sevenfold. He may have to give up all the substance of his house. Whoever commits adultery with a woman lacks understanding. He who does so destroys his own soul. Proverbs 6:20-32.